Hey guys, welcome back to Laura's Little Luxuries. My name is Laura, and here on this channel I like to share all kinds of little luxuries that I bring into my life even as I live on a budget. And I have to tell you that I think I'm turning a corner. I might have looked at my bank accounts and credit card statements and stuff today and just realized that I really do need to cut back on my spending. I try to be mindful about what comes in versus what goes out and not overspending, but I've been a little more luxurious lately than maybe I can really justify. So I'm going to be just trying to adjust my content a little bit so that it's less focused on new stuff that I'm buying and maybe more focused on making the most of what I currently have. Especially I think going into the holiday season, we're getting cozy. This is a good time to try to just make the space around us feel its best, maybe make it a little more festive than usual. And I've had a couple of viewer requests for different kinds of videos that just have to do with items that I already own. So today's video is going to be pretty brief, but this request came from a subscriber on a recent video who asked about what I keep in my diabetes kit. So some of you may know I've mentioned in the past that I have type 1 diabetes. As I'm packing up my bags on my channel, oftentimes I will show you guys the little pouches that I keep all of my different stuff in, and usually one of those pouches has diabetes supplies in it. So I'm going to keep it really real. I'm going to just show you what is currently in my bag as my diabetes kit. Everybody who has diabetes has different needs, different levels of what they feel is necessary to have with them on a daily basis. So this is just my kit. This is certainly not everything that you could keep with you if you had diabetes. I think that I have packed pretty light in recent months and years. I've gotten a lot less anxious about all the what ifs of what I could possibly need. So I just have the bare bones essentials, but I'm going to show you guys what's in my kit so that if you have diabetes, whether it's type 1, type 2, or a different type, maybe I can give you a little bit of inspiration on how to store your stuff. Maybe you have a loved one who has diabetes and you could get them a pouch for a gift one of these days to keep all of their stuff in. It's a disease that nobody wants to have, but once you have it, it's nice to find little tips and tricks to make life a little bit easier. I'll start off by just showing you guys my bag that I was carrying today. So I put on this bright green sweater and I thought, oh, my Aster oversized Naomi will look really cute with that. So that's what I carried, and I used my Seafoam jumbo tassel, and I put on my little Picasso tassel. This is in the Rebel colorway. So it's got calla lily, coral, and rhubarb. I have to think about those names because they're new. But I thought this looked really cute. I posted a short earlier showing off this bag combo, and somebody said it was Miami Vice vibes, and I agree with that. It is. It's very tropical 80s beachy kind of colors, so maybe not the best for Minnesota in November, but you know, we gotta do what we gotta do. So I'm gonna just show you what is currently in here in terms of my diabetes supplies. And I would say my main diabetes kit, if you want to call it that, is what's in my taco tassel. This holds most of my essentials, although I do have a few more items spread out in my eclipse pouch. So my eclipse tends to just be like a catch-all for all of the random stuff that I could possibly need. But because the taco tassel doesn't quite hold everything that I might need, I do tend to spread some stuff out into the eclipse as well. So you'll see I've got some candy in here. Here's an empty wrapper because I had to eat some candy when I was out the other day. What else do I have in here right now? Not a whole lot. I've got a spare syringe. This is the kind of syringe that I use to fill up my cartridge on my pump. I use a Tandem T-Slim X2 insulin pump. Let's see, I've got another syringe that apparently I used to fill up my pump, so I need to put that in a sharps container somewhere, although I didn't stick myself with this, so it's not really a biohazard. Then I've got just a couple of little insulin syringes that I could use to inject myself if I needed to. So if my pump were to malfunction, I could actually use one of these to just draw up insulin out of my pump and inject myself with it. I also keep an insulin pen in case of emergencies. I don't usually have to inject with a pen, but again, in case of a pump malfunction or if I didn't plan very well and my pump ran out of insulin, I would have some with me just in case. And honestly, I should swap this out for a new one because this one's empty, so that wouldn't do me much good. And they do expire. So they say that they're good for 30 days after you take them out of the refrigerator. I would use them much longer than that. It's not really going to go bad that fast, but I do like to switch them out regularly. Got a couple more syringes. I'm going to aim you guys down a little more. I feel like you can't probably see that well. There we go. We'll just keep everything kind of in frame so you can keep track of what I've got. So these are just sort of like the odds and ends things that end up in my Eclipse pouch. But the taco tassel is where I keep most of my diabetes stuff, so that if I am having a low or if my Dexcom continuous glucose monitor isn't working correctly, I can test my blood sugar. I do have tweezers in here. I've got some candy. These are full pouches of candy, so I know that those are there, easy to get to. And then I've got my lancing device, my test strips, and my glucose meter. And then I also had a little bottle of nail oil in here. So this is all of my diabetes stuff that I keep with me on a regular basis. Now, if I was being really prepared and smart, I would also probably keep some extra pump supplies. So for me, that would include an extra insulin cartridge for my pump, and an extra pump site in case the one that I'm currently wearing gets ripped out or it goes bad or something. So those are a little more bulk that would take up more space. I could probably fit them in my Eclipse. And I think when I originally packed all of this, I did have these in here. In fact, I'll put them back in there now as I pack things up. But I mean, that's it. It's not a crazy amount of stuff. When I take a smaller bag with me somewhere, I usually just take the taco tassel. So that's why I like to keep my blood sugar meter, everything that I would need to test my blood sugar, some candy. And I probably should keep at least one insulin syringe in here as well. I'm glad that we're doing this so that I can switch one over. That should get me through. I mean, the only thing now is if my pump were to run out of insulin while I was out somewhere, I wouldn't have any extra insulin with me in here. So if I were being really prepared, I would put like a vial of insulin in here because the pen won't fit, it's too long. So I could keep a vial of insulin in here. I just don't like to put too many vials of insulin in different places because they do go bad after a while. So I would hate to like stick one in here and never have to use it, and then an entire vial of insulin has expired in my bag because I'm not using it. And with my ADHD, like I just know that I'm not gonna stay on top of making sure that I switch the vials around often enough. Like I said, I mean, this has been in my Eclipse pouch for months and I didn't even realize that it was completely empty. So that's what we're dealing with here. So I'm gonna put, I've got one syringe in here in case I were to need it. That would really be like an emergency situation. So I don't think I need more than one. I'll put the other two back in my Eclipse pouch because I do typically have that with me. I'm gonna put my extra pump supplies, my cartridge and my syringe back in the Eclipse. I'll put this Werther's candy in my little taco tassel because I've got enough space. Put my nail oil back in here and my tweezers because I want to make sure I have those with me in every bag. Always got to be able to pluck the chin hairs. That's very important. Something else that I probably should be carrying, but I'm not currently, is a glucagon pen. So that's something that type 1 diabetics tend to keep around if at all possible. That would be in case of an extreme low blood sugar. It's almost like an EpiPen, but it raises your blood sugar up. So I should probably have one of those with me. I could keep that in my Eclipse. But honestly, I've never had, feels weird to be talking to you but not having you be able to see me. So anyway, the glucagon pen is a good idea to have. I've never had an extreme low blood sugar that required glucagon. I know that never say never, you never think it's going to happen to you. It's good to be prepared for it. I do have glucagon pens here at home, but I also always have candy with me. I am in pretty good control of my blood sugar, so I just haven't felt super vulnerable to needing to use something like that. So that's my own personal choice. If you're a type 1 diabetic, I 100% support you keeping one with you and making sure that you have space for that, but I just don't. So that's where we're at with the glucagon. I have considered getting the Baqsimi, which is the nasal glucagon, and I think it's a little bit smaller, might be easier to fit into a small pouch, but I don't think that I'd be able to put it in my taco tassel with everything else. I would need to get a different pouch that had a little more space. Maybe like a small Roswell or something would work for that, which I do have a small Roswell. I could maybe use a small Luna too, but as we'll see in the next video, those things get harder to fit into a variety of bags. So part of what I love about the taco tassel as my diabetes kit is that it fits my essentials, the things that I feel are essential, and it also fits into my smallest bags. And that's kind of important to me when I'm switching between bags regularly. It was definitely an adjustment having type 1 diabetes, realizing that I was going to have to constantly plan to have these emergency supplies with me, that like I no longer had the option to just be free from all the things that I might need. So, you know, I've adjusted, I've figured out what works for me, but I'm always trying to improve and kind of streamline and make everything more efficient. So if you have any suggestions for me, if you are a diabetic of any type and you also carry a little kit with you, let me know. Is there a pouch that you like better than the taco tassel? Have you tried this one for your stuff? Let me know if I'm leaving things out of my kit that you think are completely essential to being out and about with diabetes. Let me know if you have any questions too. I've been diagnosed with type 1 since I was 27 and I'm 33 now, so it's been about 5 years. And I think I've got a pretty good handle on it. So if you have any questions or want to know more about anything, please let me know down in the comments. I'm happy to answer as best I can. I'm not a medical professional, but I do have a bit of experience and I have figured out how to make it work for me. So happy to share from my own experience with you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Come back for the next video if you want to see a variety of my small bags and how I fit things into them. I'm going to show off my new medium metro in Leatherella, and we're going to compare what fits in that with some of my other small bags. And I do have a variety pulled aside here. I'm going to record that video in just a few minutes. So please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. Click that bell icon so you get notified every time I post a new video. And I will see you guys in the next one.